So here we consider that random variable theta is associated with this packet rate, and we have another random variable t, right. These are all the outcomes of that random variable t1, t2 and all. We say that it is the outcome of the random variable t, right. So the requirement is you observe the outcome of the random variable t, capital T, and then you need to estimate or you need to find out what is the corresponding outcome for theta, right. So that is what the task is. So here we are interested in estimating theta, right. So we consider this prior, posterior, a likelihood function, everything in connection with what, theta only, right. So you have this f1 of theta as prior, f2 of theta given t, posterior, and then likelihood function f3 of t given theta. That is what we have here, right. In this case, the posterior density function is not known, right, and what we do is this prior density function and the likelihood function we actually got it through the parametric approach. It means that, so let me consider this f1 of theta here, it is going to be that exponential distributed. We are assuming this prior density of the packet rate transmission is going to be that exponentially distributed, described by the parameter alpha, right. So you have here e power minus alpha theta, right. So what is that? It is described by this alpha, and theta is going to be what, greater than or equal to 0, and we need a constant here to make the area under the curve to be what, 1. What is that constant? Alpha, right, isn't it? So alpha into e power minus alpha theta, right. So if we take integral over 0 to infinity, you get it as what, 1, right. So let me include that. So this is modeled as what, exponential distributed, described by the parameter alpha. It is again another estimation problem. We would like to know what is the value of, typical value of alpha, right. That is a different problem actually. So knowing this alpha, right, for one particular communication, right, using the observation or experiment, we are able to estimate the value of alpha. That is the assumption, right. We already got the value of alpha, and this theta is exponentially distributed. It is a prior density function, right. You are not observing t, I am saying how the packets are coming, the packet rates are changing, that is what we are observing, how the packet rates are changing, that is what we are modeling it as what, exponentially distributed. You understand that point, right. Sometimes these packets are coming faster, sometimes packets are coming slower, right. It varies how that theta, the packet rate, is distributed, right. That density function, even that is, we are not observing, right, the typical outcome, the time interval between the packet, we are not actually measuring that, we are giving that overall, right, impression on how the packets are flowing. That is not going to be that constant anymore, right. Theta is not constant. If it is constant, then the problem of finding out what, the packet rate estimation is not at all there, right. It is fixed, right. So we are estimating, we are planning to estimate what, this packet rate means what, the packets are coming with different rate, sometimes slow, sometimes faster. So that even without closely watching the time interval between the packet, if I want to know how the packet rate is changing, and that is described by the exponential distributed alpha into e power minus alpha theta, and alpha we are able to get it. That is another estimation problem, we are not going to discuss now, right. So this is what you have, and now we have here this likelihood function f3 of t given theta. We are actually now finding out how this t is getting distributed given theta. So suppose that I am fixing it up one particular packet rate, right. In that case, if I am fixing theta, then the time interval between the packet, right, how it is changing, right, that I am observing, right. So, that is also modeled as exponential distributed, but here we have this theta in this point and we have this e power minus theta t. You have to be careful that here this alpha is constant, theta is a variable because it is a function of theta. Here you are fixing theta, means this theta is constant. Given a theta value, right, given theta, how this t is getting distributed, that is also modeled as what, exponentially distributed, right. So, it is here theta into e power minus theta t, where t is greater than or equal to 0, right. This is that model what we are considering, right. So, now we can directly go for the task, right. So, first what we really need is this posterior density function. Yesterday we discussed about that, f2 of theta given t. Once you know this posterior density function, we have three ways to solve it, right. One is what, MMSE and then MMAE and then MAP. We will do one by one, right. So, first we need to find out what is that the posterior density function f2 of theta given t, right. So, using this base, right. So, this is basically the posterior density function using this base relationship. So, what is that f3 of t given theta? It is theta into e power minus theta t, right, and f1 of theta is alpha into e power minus alpha theta. So, you get this alpha theta here, e power minus alpha plus t into theta, right. Isn't it? This is that numerator portion, and we have everywhere this denominator portion to be included. So, denominator is taking the integral over what, theta, right. So, this term I will take this is what, integral 0 to infinity, take alpha outside, theta e power minus alpha plus t into theta d theta here. So, this is alpha here, alright. UV method, alpha outside, you get this theta into e power minus by alpha plus t plus integral alpha plus t here, d theta here, right. So, here the limit is 0 to infinity. So, this is becoming 0. The second term you get alpha plus t into theta by alpha plus t whole square with negative sign, 0 to infinity here, right. So, infinity it is becoming 0 and for 0 it is 1. So, you get alpha by alpha plus t the whole square. So, I will substitute here in this expression. So, to get this, the posterior f of, right, this is what, t equal to t, in fact a specific value here, t here is alpha theta e power minus alpha plus t by, theta divided by what, alpha, and multiplied with what, alpha plus t the whole square. It gets cancelled here, you get alpha plus t the whole square theta e power minus alpha plus t theta. So, you got this posterior, that is what we are doing, it is very straightforward thing. You are having this prior and likelihood function, and we are able to get this posterior density function here. Once you get this posterior density function, we have three choice, right. So, you can go for what, MMSE, right, three choice are there, I mean three methods to solve it. One is MMSE, this is basically expectation of this theta given t equal to t, means I have to find out the expectation of theta by fixing it at what, t here, right. So, I use this conditional density function to do that, isn't it. So, that is what we have to do, right. So, we take alpha plus t the whole square integral theta is already there here, and one more theta I have to put. So, it is theta square e power minus alpha plus t theta d theta. Tell me what is that answer you are getting for this? So, we need to do this integration. Right. So, I hope you are getting what I have done, right. So, it is basically, what is this? This is basically integral theta, and I have to use the density function and then d theta, this is what I have to find, right. So, the density function we already got, and we have already one more theta in this. So, it becomes what, theta square, right. So, alpha plus t the whole square theta square e power minus alpha plus t theta, right. So, that is that result what you have. So, somebody tell me what is the answer for this, who is telling? So, we need to get this result, right, theta square e power minus alpha plus t theta d theta here, right. So, we use the same technique here, into 2 times here, let me put 2 here, 2 times theta d theta. So, this one after applying the limit ends up with 0. The second one which we already got 2 plus alpha plus t, and this integral we already got, what is that, theta into, right, integral 0 to infinity theta into e power minus alpha plus t theta, that we already did, right. What is the answer we got for that, right. So, we did this, no, this portion we already did, what is it, 1 by alpha plus t the whole square, that is all, huh? check. Okay, 1 by alpha plus t the whole square, am I right? This is what you are getting. Okay, so now I substitute back here, right, with because I took what? I took only this portion, right? This theta square, this portion only I have taken, this one, isn't it? So still I have this alpha plus t the whole square. So if I substitute it back here, alpha plus t the whole square into what? 2 by alpha plus t, and this alpha plus t the whole square will come here. This 2 gets what? Cancel, you get what? 2 by alpha plus t, that is the right answer. So I will write here theta cap MMSE of t is 2 by alpha plus t, right? But what does this mean? 2 by alpha plus t, what it mean? It means that you are observing the outcome of the random variable t, capital T, right? So the moment I see this value as t1, immediately I can compute what is my packet rate. The packet rate is going to be what? 2 by alpha plus t1. It is intuitive that if the time interval between the packet is what? Closer to each other, we say that the packet rate is going to be what? The higher value. If the time interval between the packet is larger, then the rate is going to be what? Less. It is inversely proportional. Yeah, that is fine. That is what is really happening. It is inversely proportional to t. But we get proper tuning in that, right? So I can simply write 1 by t itself, isn't it? But I am not doing that. I am getting a better estimation, right? I have some constant in the numerator, 2 is there, and I got one, right, parameter called alpha based on the reality, right, real observation on how the packets are flowing. The prior density of the packet rate, that also I have taken into account. In that case, I am able to estimate that packet rate with little more perfection, isn't it? So by MMSE method we are able to do that. So I am just giving you the motivation how the things are done in practice, right? So you see that simple packet rate estimation involves this parametric modeling. First of all, here we are using this parametric thing, right? We are assuming, right, the packet rate is exponentially distributed, isn't it? And that is described by the parameter alpha. That needs to be done. Once it is done, then we have the likelihood function, which is again modeled as a exponential distributed. Given the packet rate, if the packet rate is theta, how t is distributed? Remember that here this theta is constant, t is a variable, it is a function of t only we are interested. You are fixing it up what? Theta, and you are finding out how this t is getting distributed. And here this alpha is constant, it is the function of what? Theta. And then this helps me to get the posterior density function, isn't it? And finally we are able to find out what is the estimate. We already proved yesterday that expectation of theta given t equal to t will give you the estimate, right? So we are getting that. So what is another method, right? MMAE, right? So MMAE, if you do the similar fashion, right? So in that case MMAE, what we need is, again we go for the posterior density function like what we had it here, the same thing. Right. So this is what this posterior density function, isn't it? So you look forward. This case it is going to be 0 to infinity, right? It is theta into e power minus theta. It is of some shape. You get like this, right? Right? So we need to find out somewhere here theta cap of AE such that this area is equal to what? This area, right? And that is, and this waveform is, or this graph is what? Alpha plus t the whole square theta into e power minus alpha plus t theta. That is another estimate. We got the posterior density function and we are able to find out the theta such that this area before and after are going to be that same. This is one solution, and if I do that, right, and if you carefully do this task, right, it will end up with the similar expression here, theta cap of AE of t, it is going to be some constant. That constant happens to be 1.68 by, I mean 1.68, right, that is 1.68 by alpha plus t. AE if I do, it is 1.68. MMSE it is 2 by alpha plus t. It is another estimate what I am telling, right. So we have another third one. This is map. Map is what? Finding out the location that gives you that max of this, right. So for that, maximizing this is what is needed, as logarithm is what? The increasing function. Maximizing this term alpha plus t the whole square into theta e power minus alpha plus t into theta, right, is identical as that of what? Maximizing that ln of that, right. So I will take directly that alpha plus t whole square, right. So I am taking this ln, this is going to be anyhow constant, right, plus ln theta minus alpha plus t theta. I have taken this ln just to remove this exponential in the normal form like this. It will be easier for me to do that, right. I wanted the value for this theta that maximizes this function, right. So you differentiate this one with respect to theta and equal to 0 and solve for it. So you get here 1 by theta minus alpha plus t, that is equal to 0 here. This implies theta is 1 by theta plus t, I am sorry, alpha plus t. This is the map estimate, right. So all the three estimate, MMSE, MMAE and map, this is just for the illustration what I wanted to give. In all the cases it is going to be what? 1 by alpha plus t is available, the constant is differing. In one case it is 2, another case it is 1 by 68, and the third one map it is 1 by, it is a constant is 1, right, 1 by alpha plus t. Okay, well we have that final choice. Here I am able to model this, I am able to get this value of alpha, fine. Suppose if it is not known, that is what I told, right, if you are not able to find out this alpha, the prior density function is not known to me, then still I have to handle this problem. In that case I go for only this likelihood function, right, that is called maximum likelihood function, right. So instead of maximizing this, I try to maximize only this part alone, right. So what I take the similar form, right, I take this ln ML, I am talking about now maximum likelihood estimation, in that you get this ln theta minus theta t, right, and differentiating with respect to theta is this, implies theta cap ML is going to be what? 1 by t, right. We have the choice now. You see that likelihood function does not have alpha because I do not know the value of alpha, prior density function is not known, and your estimation is becoming what, 1 by t, intuitively it is right, isn't it? If the time interval between the packet is closer, packet rate is what, higher. You observe t and get a packet rate, and that is the way how we do the instantaneous estimation based on the outcome of one random variable to observe or to estimate, right, the outcome of another random variable. Here we are observing the outcome of the random variable t to get or to estimate the outcome of the what, the random variable theta instantaneously. The moment you see this t1, you can find out the value and you can display. That is what we are able to get, that display in your mobile or in your computer, how the packets are coming, what is the rate it is coming, right, it is continuously changing, right. It is not waiting for you to store all the packets to get in your memory and count it, time duration, not like that, it is not doing like that. We are trying to do what, estimate. You observe something and estimate it, right, that is the way how we do things, right. This is what this estimation problem in more general, right. You can have more than one observation to estimate more than one variable. Yes, it's possible. This is a simple example in which we observe one random variable and you are estimating another random variable, right. But you can have multiple observation to estimate what, multiple random variable. Yes, possible. What is your doubt?
Can you explain the example, the calculation of speed in the mobile data? You said one example, right, sir, how we are calculating the mobile data. Can you explain that?
No. It is just the related thing what I am telling. I am not saying this is the only way to do it, because it all depends upon that model what we use, right. What I am trying to say here is, we see normally if I want to know about this packet rate, right. So what normally we do is, forget about this method what we do here. This is again another way of doing this estimation only. We simply count how many packets are there for, we wait for about, for example, 5 seconds, right. You simply, or 5 seconds or 1 second, that is arbitrary I am telling, right. You wait for the packets to collect. You have collected this many number of packets for what, 5 seconds. So let us say you have n packets collected for 5 seconds, then what is that, n divided by that 5 will give you what, the average number of packets, right, per second. What is that packet you are getting? You understood what I am telling? This is not the way I am telling. What I am telling here is, you have to wait for that packets to come and let it be there, that count, and then it is not instantaneous, right, and we have to go for the next arrival, and it is like that, right. So here we are not doing like this. Here what we do, we are not actually collecting the packets and the time for some time duration, and we are not doing in that way. That is an intuitive way of saying how the packet, what is that packet rate, right. But here what we do is, we observe some random variable. What is that random variable? Outcome of some random variable. Here this outcome of the random variable is what, this time duration between the packet, just the time interval between the packet. The packets are coming continuously and you are actually observing only the time interval. When the next packet comes, that time we know after what time it is coming. That is enough for me to update my rate as fast as it is. Instantaneously I am able to estimate this packet. You understood? That is the difference. You are, see, this is the example application I am telling, right. But in general this estimation problem is what? You are observing the outcome of more than one random variable also, right. Let us say x1, x2, x3, and you can estimate based on that y1, y2, y3, right. So it is more general. In all the cases you have to understand that whatever you wanted to estimate is what we call it as this prior. Prior and posterior are defined for that, right. So here in this case I am interested in estimating what, theta. So your prior density function and posterior density function both are associated with what, theta, and the likelihood function is the other way around. The reason is I told now, right. See, in real time sometimes we may not get this prior. In that case I have to go for likelihood, maximum likelihood function. some cases we know prior and maximum, I mean likelihood function, we don't know about what posterior, that can be easily obtained by using what, the Bayes. That is what exactly we did today, right. So this is what one of the example, we still have few more examples that we will discuss later on. Now we are going for the next topic. To go for the next case study, actually you must know about this multivariate Gaussian density function. That is what I wanted to discuss about that first, then I go for the next case study, right. We will start with what we call it as indicator. See, what I am doing here is this is just the relationship between x by a, and I have created one step function, right. The step function is taking that value as 0 up to a, after that it is becoming that value as 1, right. So and this is the line here, it is of the function x by a, right. When x is equal to a, the value is going to be 1 here. So it is the intersection point what we are having, and based on just observation on this graph, just by visual seeing this, x by a is what, the greater than what, the indicator function. This is called indicator function, the step function, right. So this is represented like this, Ia of x. Ia of x is described as what, it takes that value 0 up to a, x equal to a, after that the value is jumping to what, 1. It is like a step, right. And you have that straight line here x by a, and just by observation x by a can be viewed as, is greater than or equal to Ia of x for all values of x, and I have chosen this x value to be that positive, right. I am not considering this negative, but still if you take this as negative here, in a straight line like here, this is the values of what, negative here, and still your Ia of x is 0, which is greater than that. This is even true for that x ranging from minus infinity to plus infinity, even though I have drawn it for the positive, right. So this is a general expression, Ia of x is always greater than or equal to, I am sorry, x by a is always greater than or equal to Ia of x, right. Now what I am doing is, I wanted to take this expectation on both sides, taking the expectation operator on both sides here, and this one is what, 1 by a expectation of x, and how to find out this? Can you expand this? I call you. Can you expand this expectation of Ia of x? How will you do that? Expectation of Ia of x, quick. What is the expectation of function of x? It is what? The integral function of x multiplied with what? The density function dx, right. So that is what I am going to do here. So it is integral, the limit I will put later, right. So you have the function of x, and then you have the density function, right, and then dx here, Ia of x, fx of x, dx here. But you know this Ia of x is what? Is 1 from a to infinity. So I write here a to infinity, and I remove this Ia of x as what? 1 in this, right. So this expression integral a to infinity fx of x dx, what is that? It is nothing but what? The probability of x greater than or equal to a, isn't it? So you got a very good bound. The bound is the probability of x greater than or equal to a is less than or equal to expectation of x by a. We are actually trying to get this bound, inequalities, Markov inequality, right? Chebyshev inequality, Chernoff bound, right? We have, isn't it, different bounds that relates this probability and expectation is like this probability is there and here the expectation is there. The reason why we go for this bound is that probability, right? If we want to know about this probability, if it is a continuous case, we need a density function. Suppose if it is not known, at least I can find out what is that bound. You understood what I am telling you? What is the probability of x greater than or equal to a? That I cannot find out. I cannot find the exact value, at least I know it is going to be lesser than this. Okay, the right hand side is expectation of x, that I will get, that I can estimate. Original expectation of x, if I want to know, then I need what? This density function, no doubt in it. If I want to find out this expectation of x, I must know what is my density function. But for doing that estimate, see, suppose that if I want to know about expectation of x, x is the marks scored by the students, we can estimate, isn't it? I can sum up the marks and divided by what? The number of students. Or I can give one more example, right? So let us consider that the problem is you have the DC, someone is saying that it is DC and having that value as mu, and but I am not saying what value it is. I am just saying that it is DC having some constant amplitude, and I want you to estimate that. Okay, what is a great deal it? I have a multimeter, I can, right, measure it. Yes, you are measuring, but what is happening? The problem is it is not giving you the correct answer. Originally if it is 5 volt, no, it is giving you 4.8, and sometimes next time when you place there you are getting 5.1, and the next time when you place it is 4.9, then 5.2, it gets what? Fluctuated. You understand what I am telling? So now we need to do some estimation. We need to estimate what is that value of this DC volt, that average, right? What you do, right? You do the experiment n times, or you collect that value n times, right? x1, x2, x3, they are all the random variables, right? So if I am measuring at different time instant, right? So here at x1 here, this is x2 here, right? Here x3 here up to this xn, right? You are not actually measuring this, that white, instead you are measuring what is given as that yellow. That's what you are measuring, right? You are not measuring 5 volts, sometimes 5 also comes, right? But it is going to be having the fluctuations, right? 4.3, 4.9, 5.1, 5.3, like that. Then what you do, you simply take what? The estimation, right? X bar is what? Sigma I equal to 1 to n xi 1 by n. As simple as this. This is the estimation problem. X bar, getting this answer is the estimation. You are doing estimation. Why I am telling this one is, it is the estimation of the random variable x, x1 or x2 or x3, whatever it is. I am just saying that it is x, but all are random variables. I can view this x1, for example, this x1 what you get here is basically what? It is having some baseline as a constant, right? That is your mu plus some noise is getting added. So I can view that the noise as what? 0 mean and variance what? Sigma square. This is the model for me, just like what we did the problem long back, right? Y equal to x plus n problem. Just like that, this is the problem of what? Mu plus the noise. X2 is also the same thing, right? X2 is what? Mu plus again the noise. X3 is again what? Mu plus the noise. We have all these random variables x1, x2, x3 and so on, all are the random variable, right? Can anybody tell me what is that density function of x1? Who is telling? The density function of x1? Very simple. X plus n, what is that? It is also Gaussian. We know already, right? Y equal to x plus n formula, isn't it? So if x is fixed constant, if it is 1, we already did know the conditional density function fy given x equal to 1, fy given x equal to minus 1. What happened to that? Only the density function is getting shifted right and left, but the shape remains the same, it is Gaussian only. So here this x1, x2, x3 all are going to be Gaussian. Only the mean is getting shifted to what? Mu. That's known, right? So if I want to know what is my expectation of x1, right, straight away I can find out what? Expectation of mu. You have the expression, right? X1 is equal to what? Mu plus n. Expectation of x1 is what? Expectation of mu plus expectation of n. Expectation of mu1 is what? Mu itself. I am sorry, it's not mu1, it is mu, right? Because it is constant. Expectation of mu is simply mu. But expectation of n is the mean. What is that value? It is 0. So what is that you get? Expectation of x1 is going to be, expectation of x1 is going to be mu. But to get this answer, we actually need what? The density function of n. Indirectly what it mean? You need a density function of x1. If I know the density function, is okay, it's fine, I can find it is one shot. And this is only the model. I am saying that noise is Gaussian with mean 0 and variance sigma squared, who knows, right? I am doing only the estimate now. I am doing the estimate. This is my estimate. x1 plus x2 plus x3 and so on up to this xn divided by n, that is going to be my estimate. You understood? I am just making you understand that I may not be knowing the probability. For knowing this probability, I need a density function that may not be known, but I can find out this expectation of x using some estimation technique. Then this will give you some bound. This will help me to understand what is the probability of x greater than or equal to a, right? So that is going to be definitely lesser than or equal to expectation of x by a. This expectation of x by a will be given to you. This we can estimate. Then I can put different values of a here. I can find out what is the probability of x greater than or equal to a1, probability of x greater than or equal to a2 and so on. So I can at least plot that plot, isn't it? So this type of inequalities are needed when we don't have really what? The density functions given to you, right? So we will have one more, for example, right? So the similar to this expression, right, I replace this x with y square and then just with a square here, it is less than or equal to expectation of y square, okay, I will put it as b here, by b square here. This I can write it as probability of equal to b, b is positive, right? So this is expectation of y squared by b square, and I can take this mu y is less than or equal to expectation of y minus mu y the whole square by b square, which is basically sigma y squared by b square, right? So we have another bound, very popular bound, this one. Chernoff bound. No, this is Chebyshev inequality. I am sorry, this is Chebyshev inequality, right? So you have this Markov Chebyshev inequality, but remember that what is there in that right hand side here, right? So that is the variance here, and here it is what? The mean. I am trying to bring that one here. The reason is this variance and the mean can be what? Estimated. We can estimate that. We can estimate the mean, we can estimate the variance, right? So that is the reason we try to bring that bound in this form, right? So then we go for, this is that Chebyshev, right? And this is Markov. And the third one is the Chernoff bound. I will just write that. Here I am going to use this exponential instead of this line here, is something like this. It goes like this. This is an indicator, just like what we had it for this case. Right? This is x. So you consider like this, the expression what I have written there, having a new variable s also involved in this, right? When I substitute x is equal to a in this, e power sx, where x is equal to a, right? What will happen? As minus as, it is becoming what? 0, the value is 1, right? So I am just satisfying that condition, and this is going to be the value as what? 1 here. This is that indicator, Ia of x is there, and I created a exponential term in this, and you see that this exponential is going to be always, right, even when x is equal to minus infinity, it is going to be what? The value is going to be 0. So this is that e power sx, right, into e power minus as, that is going to be greater, right, as equal to what? The indicator function. As usual, you take the expectation on both sides. We already computed this expectation of the indicator, that is going to be what? This probability of x greater than or equal to a, right. So this is what you get in this, and I am talking about this x, so I can take this e power minus as here, and this one I will write it as here like this. So this implies probability of x greater than or equal to a is less than or equal to e power minus as expectation of sx. You see where all that bounds comes, I mean how the bounds are written in the right hand side. In the one case I am using mean, this case I am using variance, and here what is this called, anybody? Expectation of e power sx is a very popular, it is nothing but what? The moment generating function, otherwise called characteristic function. Moment generating function, I call it as moment generating function because it generates the moments, it gives you expectation of x square, x cube, x power 4 and so on, the higher order moments it will give you that, right. So you are able to relate because that can be estimated, I am telling that. So whatever we have this, the other side of the probability, that we can estimate. We cannot get that exact value, but we can get what? The estimate of it, right. So if I want to know about this expectation properly, then I need to know the density function. If it is not known, then I have to go for what? Estimate. At least I can relate this probability with that estimated value, that I am able to get using this type of bounds, right. So now quickly we will try to find out what is that solution for the Gaussian case, right. For that I need to find out this expectation of e power sx for the Gaussian, right. So we will do it now for the Gaussian. So the density function for the Gaussian is like this, 1 by root of 2 pi sigma square e power minus x minus mu the whole squared by 2 sigma square, right. So you need to know that expectation of e power sx. So this is sx here minus infinity plus infinity 1 by root of 2 pi sigma squared in this, right. So I will take this e power density function, I have to write here x minus mu the whole squared by 2 sigma square d square dx. So now we are going to use the same trick as that of what we did in that Rayleigh and Richian distribution, right, because we know that the area under the curve of the Gaussian density function is going to be 1. I mean any density function it is going to be 1, but we know the expression for the Gaussian, right. So if I have the term, right, let me put like this, minus infinity plus infinity e power minus x minus mu the whole square by 2 sigma square dx, right. So that is going to be what? Root of 2 pi sigma square. This property I am going to use for solving this. Remember that this mu can be, right, I can choose any mu for it, does not matter, right. So because the answer does not have mu, it is only depends on what? Sigma, that is the trick, that is only the trick, right. So you simply expand it and change the mean, and whatever is left out that bring out outside, and that is going to be that answer, right. So can you do that? I will do it here, please do yourself. So I will take that sx 2 sigma square here, this is x square plus mu square minus 2x mu whole divided by 2 sigma square we have in this, okay. So this mu square by 2 sigma square we can't do anything on this, that will take outside, right, and I have here minus x square minus two x, this 2x I am taking this common minus 2x here, so you will get mu here, and there, right, we have this minus s sigma square, right. So what I did was this 2x I have taken common, right. So if I take this minus 2x common, this becomes mu here, and this is minus s sigma square, that I will get whole divided by, anyhow this is going to be our 2 sigma square in this, right. Now I am going to do the trick. It is like what? X square plus 2x some constant, and that whatever the constant I have, I need to make it a square and then subtract that square. That is what I wanted to do, right. So if I take this one as common, this minus is common, this becomes plus in this, right. So what I do is I will take that as a common itself, right. So you get this mu minus x sigma square, the whole square is one term, and I subtract the same thing, mu s sigma square, the whole square, right. So that is what we get, isn't it. So this is equal to, this one I will take outside, e power minus mu squared by 2 sigma square, that I will take outside. Of course we have a constant in this, root of 2 pi sigma square. When I take, see, remember that what I am doing here is only this this exponential part only I have taken as it is, isn't it. So it means that I am taking this exponential of this is what I want, right. So that is what I am telling, this I have written, and this part exponential of minus up to this, the second term up to this is going to be what? E power minus x minus some mean, the mean is going to be what? Mu minus s sigma square, right, the whole square by 2 sigma square. Variance is the same sigma square, right. So that term will end up with what? Root of 2 pi sigma square, and the third term still it will be there, that I can take here as what? E power mu, because this minus is there, it becomes plus in this, right, it is the common thing, right. So up to this, because I added this and subtracted this, everything outside of this parenthesis, this is a different bracket I have used. So mu plus s sigma square, right, where? Here? Here? This is minus, okay, this is minus, right, this is right, the whole square, right, by 2 sigma square, right, this gets cancelled and you get a relation finally with s and sigma square, right. So I use a trick, the area under the curve of this Gaussian density function is what? Simply root of 2 pi sigma square. By doing this, only that mean I have shifted, right. So it is like what? X minus mu minus s sigma square, the whole square, right. So that is what, by 2 sigma square, variance is not changing, only mean is changing. Can you simplify this? What is that you get here? So this is e power minus mu squared by 2 sigma square, and this is mu square by 2 sigma square e power s square sigma power 4 by 2 sigma square e power minus 2 mu s sigma power 4, right. No, sigma square 2 mu s sigma square divided by 2 sigma square here, right. So this will be 1 in this, and this is here. So it is e power s square sigma squared by 2 into e power, this 2 gets cancelled, e power minus mu s. Yes, this is that moment generating function. This is the moment generating function for Gaussian. Okay, why I am doing this? I wanted to substitute this one in my Chernoff bound. This is called Chernoff bound. Okay. I want to substitute here in this expression. So for the Gaussian case, the special case for this Chernoff bound is this probability of x greater than or equal to a is less than or equal to e power minus as into, I will write that, e power s squared sigma squared by 2 e power minus mu s. Interesting. See, I am saying that it is interesting because most of the data what we get in real time, we are assuming that it is Gaussian distributed. The reason is, I don't know whether you studied this entropy information, right? You know that if I have a random variable x which is continuous, I don't know about the density function, but the only information what I know is it is having a particular constant variance, means it is going to have some, the average power involved in that is going to be that fixed. That's all I know. If that is the case, the best choice for the random variable x, the density function I am talking about, is the Gaussian density function, because that gives you the maximum information per symbol, entropy. Okay, if x is discrete, what you do? Suppose that if I have x is discrete, takes the value like for example dice, simple die example you can take, having the outcome of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. I am not saying what is the probability of that individuals, right? Don't say that it is 1 by 6, right? It is a biased. Okay, so you have this 6 outcomes having that probability, right, for the 6 outcomes individually. I am saying that you get the maximum information associated with that random variable x, the discrete, when x is dash. What is that? It is when x is uniformly distributed. That means that if the probability of x equal to 1 is 1 by 6, probability of x equal to 2 it is 1 by 6 and so on. If they are eq probable, you get that maximum entropy associated with that. This is for the discrete case. Just like that, I am telling that if I have a, this is very important, if I have a random variable x and I am saying that it is having a fixed variance, means it is in right, we can even interpret it as what, some constant average power, right? Strictly speaking, variance and power, we should not interchange this. Basically expectation of x square is normally we treat it as what, the autocorrelation or x of 0 as the average power, but variance you know what it is, that expectation of x square minus expectation of x the whole square. I am treating it as mean as 0, right? So in that case this expectation of x squared is same as that of what, the variance. Okay, so that this is just for your information. I want to keep this as the variance fixed, that's all, right? I have a random variable x and I am declaring you that the variance is fixed. I am having some variance in that. You have the outcome of the random variable x, you can get any value, right? 5.3, 4, 7, minus 100, minus 10, right? I am not giving any bound also. The bound is from minus infinity to plus infinity, all the values it can take, that also I am telling. If that is the case, see, that is also important, what is the range for x, right? I can give, I am saying that it will take any value from minus infinity to plus infinity, right? That also I write here, it takes that value from minus infinity to plus infinity. If that is the case, the best choice for the density function associated with the random variable x is Gaussian density function, which gives you the maximum information, right? We have the proof, but I am not saying that, right? Right, and that is the reason. See, okay, it's not directly related. What I am telling here is, in most of the cases, if the random, I mean, if we don't know this density function, we assume that it is going to be what? Gaussian. Even noise, we are assuming that it is what? Gaussian. We don't know anything about that noise. What we really know is it varies from minus infinity to plus infinity, and we know what is that average power of that noise. If it is known, then we give the choice for that noise as what? Gaussian. That is what we are using, additive Gaussian noise, right. So, I am saying this one is, this bound is very, very helpful, because we treat that random variable x as Gaussian. If we use x as Gaussian, then we can find out what is the probability of x greater than or equal to a, which is always what? Less than or equal to e power minus as, e power s squared sigma square, e power mu s. And remember that this is true for any value of what? S. You can choose any value of s, it will be true. But we need to know about this closed bound. What is that closed bound mean? I am saying some number in my mind, right, that is less than 10. And I am saying, I have, of course it is a positive number, the number less than 2, right, both are actually the true statement what I told, because the number what is in my mind is just 1, right, 1 is less than 10, it is less than 2 also, but which is the better way of saying that, you need to give that close, right, close enough, instead of saying, right, this probability is less than some number which is far away from that, then it is not going to give you much, right, useful. I have to tell that the number which is there in my mind is less than 2 instead of saying what? Less than 10. How close it is to the true value, right? The probability. That way we must be able to tell that bound is what we call it as closed bound. Right. So, if I want to have this closed bound, this what is there in that right hand side, that must be what? Minimum or maximum? That must be minimum, right. So, I choose that value of s that gives you that minimum value of what? The right hand side. So, can you do that quickly? How do you do that? You have to differentiate this one with respect to s, right, and equal to 0, and then solve for s, and then substitute that s back to this, that will give you that value, right. Quickly do that, because all the 3 terms we have s, so you can't escape, you have to use all the 3 terms, right, u, v, w type, right, you have to do that. I can treat this one as 2 term, like combining these 2, right, like e power minus a plus mu s into e power s squared sigma squared by 2. Treat it as this is u and this is v, use this uv method, differentiate with respect to s and equal to 0 and solve for s. Who is telling the answer? I am not going to do that. So you got that answer? You got that answer for this, right? Who is telling? Huh? What is the value of S? A plus, this is what you are getting. So if I substitute this one in this expression, what is that you get? So this is e power minus a plus mu the whole square by sigma square, right, into e power a plus mu by sigma square the whole square sigma square by 2. Can you simplify this? Just expand it. You got it. Tell me what is it? E power minus a plus mu is it so? This is what you are getting? Right? This is what you are getting? Okay. So the special case, of course, when mu is 0, it is get what? E power minus a squared by 2 sigma squared, right? So when if mu is 0, you get probability of x greater than or equal to a is less than or equal to what? E power minus a squared by 2 sigma squared, right? So it is a closed bound I am telling, right? So e power minus a squared by 2 sigma square, it is that Chernoff bound. And for mu equal to 0, the more general expression is this: probability of x greater than or equal to a, it is what? Less than or equal to e power minus as e power a square sigma squared by 2. Just by substituting mu to 0, you get this expression, right? And this is a special case, you know, is closed bound here, is what we call it as Chernoff bound, right? Okay, so we will go for this another observation. It is not new to you, right? So we have this expression of e power sx, right, like this 1 plus sx plus sx the whole square by 2 factorial and so on. So if I differentiate with respect to s and equal to 0, what is that you get? This becomes 0, here you get only x, isn't it? So what is that you get? Expectation of x, fine. Okay, then if I do twice, this becomes what? 0, because it is x only, right? So it is this term already 0, so you have x here, so this becomes 0, and this one actually we need to do 2 times what? The differentiation, right? So because we need to go undergo the 2 steps, right? So what is that? This is s squared x squared by 2, isn't it? The first time when you do, what is that you get? 2s will come, The second time 2 will come, thus 2 and 2 gets cancelled, so you will get what? Expectation of x square, is it not? And after that you have to substitute s is equal to 0, because all other terms, the higher order terms, will vanish, right? And that is why this is called what? The moment generating, that is what I said, right? If you go for the third derivative, what is that you get? You get here x cube will be there, and this s cube will, what will happen? 3 s square, right? 3 into 2 into s, and then 3 into 2 into 1 divided by, denominator is also 3 factorial, gets cancelled, you get what? Expectation of x cube. So this is what we call it as the moment generating function, right? So I can find out this expectation of x square, x cube, all those things just by differentiating what? The actual moment generating function which we derived there. You see that, what is that? E power minus as e power s squared sigma squared by 2. I can find out, actually I can find out the result in terms of mu and sigma. Yes, it's possible, right? Because we know this is more general, I am writing e power expectation of e power sx, but I can directly find out what is that expectation of x, expectation of x square, all those things just by using that moment generating function. Where is that? This is my moment generating function, excluding this. You see that, what is that bound we got? E power minus as expectation of e power sx, right? You see that in your expression. What is moment generating function? We wrote this one separately, right? Is it not? The moment this Chernoff bound, probability of x greater than or equal to a less than or equal to what? E power minus as expectation of e power sx, right? It means that this is my moment generating function. Got it? This is expectation of what? E power sx. Okay, where x is what? Gaussian distributed. Got it? So what I am asking you to do is, I wanted to find out what is my expectation of x, expectation of x square, expectation of x cube, all those things using that expression. So let us consider for simplicity that mean is 0. I will take that e power, right? I just take e power s squared sigma squared by 2, this alone I will take. This is my moment generating function now. This is my moment generating function. Okay, so I want to differentiate once, differentiate twice, and so on. So let me again, this also I want to expand like this. Who is telling what is that expectation of x? For finding out this expectation of x, what is that you have to do? You have to differentiate with respect to s and substitute s is equal to 0. So when I do that, what will happen? Here this term will be 2s will come, everywhere s is going to be there. First term already 0. If I substitute s is equal to 0, it is going to be what? 0, yes, as expected, because mean I already told that it is 0. So expectation of x for this case is going to be what? 0, that is fine. And what is that expectation of x square? I will give. So you have to differentiate this one with respect to s twice, right? The first time when you do, you get what? 2s square, I mean 2s, 2 gets cancelled. Second time when you do, it becomes what? sigma square only. So it is also expected, right? This is a cross check that it is right. Okay, tell me what is expectation of x cube. Expectation of x cube is also going to be what? 0. That is right. Okay, and then what about expectation of x power 4? Expectation of x power 4 is needed, and this will definitely going to vanish, and here you get this s power 4 term, this will be there, and if I go for the next, it is going to be s power 6 will be there. Definitely that will not be there, because 4 times when you do, still s remains. So when I substitute s, that will be 0. So it is enough to choose only this, isn't it? So just differentiate this alone, s power 4 sigma power 4 divided by 2, I mean divided by 4 you will get, right, isn't it? So s power 4 you will get. So you need to do what? 4 times this. So 4 into s cube, 4 into 3 into s square, 4 into 3 into 2 into s, and 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So it is 4 factorial you will get, isn't it? Is it not? Or I will write it as 1 into 2 into 3 into 4, right? So that will be there in that numerator, and this will be what? Sigma power 4, isn't it? And this will what will happen? This is 2 square, it is 4 here already, 2 factorial is there. So 2 factorial, and we have what? 4, I am sorry. Am I right? Isn't it? Because this is 2 square, this 2 square I am writing it as 4 here, this 2 factorial I am keeping as it is. Okay, we will do one more, expectation of x power 5. So this is going to be 0, expectation of x power 6. So I have to look for the term, only this term is enough for me to do this, whole cube by 3 factorial. This is the term what I want to do that, right? So s power 6, so you will get 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5 into 6, it is a 6 factorial, 4, 5, 6 here, sigma power 6 will come by 2 into 2 into 2, and then what you have here, 1 into 2 into 3 will be there, and here it is 1 into 2, and this one I will write it as 2 into 2. I am writing this form because I wanted to generalize this expression. So expectation of x6 depends upon what? Sigma power 6. It is an interesting result, right? When mean is 0, you have to interpret, this is for the Gaussian case, right? Expectation of x square is sigma square, but expectation of x power 4 is related to sigma power 4. Having some constant, that is fine, but it is proportional to what? Sigma power 4, and you have there proportional to sigma power 6, and odd moments are all zeros. I mean with mean, if mean of the Gaussian is 0, odd moments are all is going to be 0, and even moments is proportional to the corresponding sigma, right? Expectation of x square means proportional to sigma square, expectation of x power 4 is proportional to sigma power 4, and so on. And now I wanted to make it as more general, expectation of x power, let us take that is 2n, because I am writing it as 2n, because if it is odd, the value is 0. I wanted purposefully that x power, that power to be what? Even. So it means when I put n equal to 1, you get what? Expectation of x square. If it is n equal to 2 means expectation of x power 4. That only I want to generalize, right? So how do you do that? So for example, before that you see that what I am going to do here is I take this 2, I multiply this with 1, to write this one as 2 here and this one is 4 here. I am writing in this form, right. So similarly I wanted to write this one is 2 here and 4 here and 6 here. I am bringing this individual 2 to this the term, right. So if I do that, so this 2 4 and this 2 4 get cancelled and this 2 4 6 and this 2 4 6 gets cancelled, right. So now we are able to get some pattern in this, right. It is 1 into 3 sigma power 4, it is 1 into 3 into 5 sigma power 6. So can you tell me what is the answer for this? 1 into 3 into 5 into up to what? 2n minus 1 sigma power 2n, right. Okay. This is the expression for this, and this is a very important result actually what we derived, that moment for the Gaussian density function. We will stop here, we will continue other things in the next class. Okay.